courage, give him strength every moment because he needs it. Be with his cabinet and the members of parliament. Tonight, as we deliberate, bless our nation. Give us the joy of hearing good news from home that stirs us up into positive action. Conduct this town hall meeting tonight, and your name be ever glorified. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so very much, Reverend Klein-Smythe. At this point, I'll now call on our Chief of Mission, Ambassador Siddiq Y, to declare the statement of purpose and to moderate the rest of the program. Your Excellency, Ambassador Abubakar Siddiq Y, over to you, sir.
Ambassador, unmute yourself.
Thank you very much, Head of Chancery. Honorable Minister, Professor David Francis, Honorable Ibrahim Kabo, HE Ambassador Sheikh Masale, HE Ambassador Victoria Soleimani, Honorable George Hamilton, Consul General Miami, faith-based leaders, diaspora partners, friends, and partners all across the United States, around the world, and in our home country. I bring you greetings from the United States, and I bring you greetings from the mission of Sierra Leone to the United States. First, some house rules. Number one, if you are not speaking, please mute your phone so that it does not interrupt the other person, so that we all can hear. And number two, all the questions that are going to be asked, they will be sent to me or posted on the chat room to me by Mrs. Rachel Horner as well as Mr. Pell, so that we can move this process. The program itself has been scheduled for 1 hour. We're sorry we're a little late because of technical difficulties, but we're going to go right into it. As is consistent with the vision of all of us in this, as consistent with our philosophy of receiving government officials, important guests that come from our country. It was the desire of our foreign minister, Professor David Francis, to meet and dialogue with his sons and brothers and sisters, sons and daughters of Sierra Leone who reside in the United States, as well as in countries, for him to share why the purpose of his visit here, some of the things that have happened in the country, and so that he can have a dialogue with each and every one of you. Since there is COVID and we could not meet face-to-face, in person, we thought of doing the best thing, and that is to hold this virtual meeting so that he can reach everyone. I must say from the onset, because of the time limitations, we will not have too many questions. We will take no more than 5 questions. And because tomorrow is also a very, very busy day. So on that note, without further ado, let me introduce our distinguished Foreign Minister, Professor David John Francis. Of course, as you all know, the now foreign minister was formerly the chief minister in the Republic of Sierra Leone, served in that position for about 3 years. And since then, he was in charge of 27 or 28 ministries, oversaw all of the functioning to look at how they do things to make sure in terms of service delivery. And in that position, he was able to do quite a lot. But now in this new position, he's in charge of promoting and our Sierra Leone foreign policy to the world. And he supervises all of the diplomatic missions. In addition to that, prior to that, he also was a team lead person that worked with the parliament and with all of the other ministries in our country. So without further ado, let me bring to the microphone, yield to the distinguished Foreign Minister, the Honorable Dr. Professor David Francis. I yield back, Mr. Minister, Honorable Minister.
Good evening. Good evening, and I hope that I'm loud and clear. The reception seemed to be not so clear, but I will do my best.
You are clear, sir.
Your Excellencies, Deputy Ambassador, the DPR of New York, thank you. The Honorable Chair of the Foreign Relations Parliamentary Committee, Honorable I.B. Kagbo, the Deputy Leader of the All People's Congress Party, and a member of the delegation. My brothers and sisters of this great country we call Sierra Leone, the land that we love. Today I see that we have signed up to 121 participants live on this virtual meeting. So it's a pleasure to meet with all of you virtually. That is the challenge and the opportunity of COVID-19. I'm able to meet with 121 participants in this North American Diaspora Community Town Hall meeting in my capacity as Foreign Minister. Obviously, I've had the opportunity of having engaged with you in my previous capacity as Chief Minister. So today, what I really want to do is to provide an opportunity to listen to the issues that you want to raise, but that will be set off by a clear understanding of where we are as a country, why we are in the country today, and the progress that we've made, and the foreign policy shift, and then we can end up with what is it that we expect of you as members of this distinguished North American diaspora community. Bearing in mind, you are part of the Category A mission, the United States of America. So you have a unique opportunity, but also a unique responsibility in terms of moving Sierra Leone forward. So I'm very pleased to join you, and I'm very pleased that you are able to make the time despite all your busy schedules. What I've learned that when it comes to Sierra Leone and Sierra Leonean matters, we will make the time to rally and engage. So thank you very much for making the time to listen to the issues that I have to raise, and I also had the opportunity for me to listen to the issues that you have to raise as well. So why are we here? The new
We're having technical
direction government, the United States is the people of Sierra Leone. Through program administration, I think it's really important to share these perspectives. So we are here to engage with the Biden administration, to share with them what is it that we have done as a government in terms of moving the country forward. especially the free quality education as part of human capital development flagship program of His Excellency the President. I'm sure you're aware of the simple fact that 22% of the national budget is now spent only on education, long-term credible investment in the future of Sierra Leone. The fight against corruption, the effort to consolidate democracy and the rule of law, the efforts made by the new government, not so new after 3 years, I dare say, in terms of creating the opportunity for inclusive politics, inclusive governance, and inclusive development so that no one is left behind. Today, we are not talking about party. We are talking about Sierra Leone, Sierra Leone, and Sierra Leone, and what we can collectively and individually do to change and transform the narrative of this new Sierra Leone we are talking about under the new direction government. His Excellency the President, in the new Direction People's Manifesto, talk about creating a ladder of opportunity for all Sierra Leoneans, irrespective of where you come from. That the small boy or the young girl in Falaba or in Kenema, a young lad from Kailaun or Kono or Freetown or Koinadugu or Karina, they all will benefit from this ladder of opportunity created by His Excellency the President. That is free quality education. So like the President, as he said, that he worked as a small boy in a poor environment from Tihun, his home village, and walked to State House. As Foreign Minister, coming from a humble home in Kenema, today I've been Chief Minister and Foreign Minister. It is possible for every Sierra Leonean child, irrespective of where you come from, to make that journey to the highest level of the ambition through God's opportunity, but also through the free quality education. So I'm pleased to inform you that in my 2 days of engagement with the new Biden administration, I'm pleased to inform you that the Biden administration is very pleased with the progress made by the new direction government under His Excellency Dr. Julius Maada Bio. The Biden out as part of inclusive development, creating ladder of opportunity for everyone. The Biden administration is pleased in terms of the officials that we've been able to meet in my discussions with the Deputy Secretary of State and the Acting Secretary of Homeland Security and other senior officers of the government. They are pleased in terms of the effort made by the new direction government to promote a liberal, progressive government that is committed to democratic consolidation, the rule of law, and protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms, and in particular, creating an inclusive development framework and converting Sierra Leone into the investor's destination of choice. We have made progress as a new government, and this progress is recognized by key development and international powers, especially the United States government. In terms of the quick wins that we've been able to achieve just in these 2 days, we have been able to secure the lifting of the ban on the 2017 visa restriction, visa sanctions on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Immigration Department. This is a success story of what we are able to do as a government for and on behalf of the people. In the coming days, I will also engage with our New York mission to engage with multilateral institutions in New York, but in particular the United Nations, to promote Sierra Leone's bid for a seat on the UN Security Council in the non-permanent category for 2024-2025. I'm sure you are aware that Ghana has just been elected for a seat in the UN Security Council in non-permanent category for 2022-2023. So Sierra Leone, as a small country, is aspiring to do things differently. So today I can confidently say that Sierra Leone is no longer defined by its past, the legacy of wars, of Ebola, of mudslide, but we are talking of a new Sierra Leone that is determined, that is a confident, dynamic, innovative, smart, inspiring, and hopeful country. And as a new foreign minister, I talk about Sierra Leone with a swagger. And we all have it. All of us have the swagger. We want to convert Sierra Leone into an aspiring country. So it is on that note that I want to spend just a couple of minutes to talk about the new shift that has been forced on us as a country in our foreign policy and international relations. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters of Sierra Leone, today we operate in a global environment, the global environment of COVID-19 pandemic. And this COVID-19 global pandemic has unleashed a global economic depression that is affecting all countries of the world, including major powers like the United States. Sierra Leone is no exception. Our economic projections have been downgraded because of the impact of COVID-19. So what do we do as a small country? A small country that has been dependent on donor funding. Last year, 2020, we would have not been able to pay salaries and essential service provision of electricity, transportation, free quality education funding without the envelope, without the funding from our bilateral and multilateral partners. And today, we are talking of moving into the third quarter of the year, and that envelope is decreasing gradually. Because the COVID-19 pandemic has created a global situation that our usual development partners now have started looking inwards to themselves. Let me give you the example of the United Kingdom. United Kingdom today, one of our traditional, historic, credible partners, has cut its development assistance and foreign aid to countries like Sierra Leone by 80%. That is from 0.7% of its national income to 0.5%. So the United Kingdom government is saving £4 billion sterling per annum. It is not giving it as development assistance anymore, but that money is being plowed back into its own development priorities in country. The European Union member states are also looking to doing the same. Look at the case of Germany. Germany has removed Sierra Leone from the Development Cooperation Partnership list of priority countries, not because we have done anything wrong. And in fact, in 2019, the German foreign minister, when he visited Sierra Leone, said, Sierra Leone is a success story of post-war peace building and state reconstruction. So if this is the case, Sierra Leone as a small country that is dependent on foreign aid, that foreign aid is no longer there to be given because of the challenges of COVID-19. As a country, we are also dependent on extractive industry, the mining resources. The mining resources have also not produced their desired effect. We're also dependent on subsistence agriculture, and that in itself has not also produced the desired effect. So what do we do as a small country? We have to be innovative. We have to be smart. We have to be confident enough. And this is where I draw a leaf from the experience of President Joe Biden. He has said, the global challenge that we face today has to be looked at from a different perspective. So as far as the Biden administration is concerned, they have seen this global challenge as a new opportunity to do things. Obviously, Sierra Leone hasn't got the 2 trillion stimulus package. I hope we had that. But also, Sierra Leone hasn't got the 6 trillion infrastructure development program that they want to roll out. But what that message is saying to us as a small, aspiring, innovative country is the simple fact that we have to do things differently. Because in the post-COVID period, the recovery from COVID-19 global pandemic is going to be slow, it's going to be difficult, and it's going to be uncertain and unpredictable for a majority of countries, including Sierra Leone. So this is why, my brothers and sisters, we have decided to reflect on how do we move the country forward. We've decided to talk about a shift in the foreign policy away from a narrow focus on economic diplomacy to development diplomacy. What does that mean? It simply means that development is a national interest. And the national interest is outlined in Section 10 of the Constitution. It says to protect and promote the national interest as a core value. Give me one country that has developed just by one form of diplomacy. Name one country. I cannot think of any country. We have public diplomacy as a form of diplomacy, whereby you focus only on giving foreign aid and development assistance. We talk about political diplomacy, that is bilateral and multilateral relations with countries and intergovernmental institutions and multilateral agencies. Today, we talk about vaccine diplomacy. And I'm sure you know that we have just qualified after 25 years absence from African Nations Cup. We talk also about football diplomacy. But on a more serious note, this shift is warranted by the simple fact that trade and investment is not the only form of change and transformation of a country. So we have to move from the narrow focus to bringing a more inclusive approach to our foreign relations and international cooperation. So development diplomacy is simply about using diplomacy for the service of development, so that we are using diplomacy to achieve our development aspiration, our development priorities, our development agenda. That is why today we have used diplomacy to secure the lifting of the ban, the visa ban imposed since 2017. This is what diplomacy does. It's about development. Because it is about development, therefore, development becomes the orientation for all that we do. As a national interest, economic diplomacy is not an end in itself. That we are talking about. It is simply to take Sierra Leone to the next level of development, that is middle income status. For 60 years, Sierra Leone has been on the tarmac, taxiing on the tarmac without liftoff. Now is the time to lift up Sierra Leone into a middle income status, and we can do it. As human beings, we need a holistic approach to development as a process, as an activity. All of us, we've shifted now from the narrow focus on economic diplomacy, because even as human beings, we just don't drink water to develop and survive. We drink water, we eat food, we eat vegetables, we eat fruits. It is a combination of all of these things together that brings about development. So it's a holistic, inclusive approach to development. This is what this development diplomacy is all about. So it is going to take Sierra Leone to the next level. That is middle income status. So what are the fundamental principles? Two issues I want to state simply. One, for the first time, it means that we take ownership of our development agenda. Development is now in our hands. For far too long, we have followed the prescriptions and the priorities of our development partners and the Bretton Woods institutions, because we have to subscribe to their programs, their funding and their loan priorities, etc. But as in Sierra Leone, it's different. Sierra Leone today, as part of this development diplomacy, we want to present Sierra Leone in terms of opportunities. Sierra Leone as the land of opportunities. This is what this development diplomacy is all about. The foreign minister going around cap in hand, begging for resources that are no longer there from our development partners. So we have to present Sierra Leone in terms of opportunities. So this is the message to all of us. What can we do to market and project Sierra Leone in terms of opportunities? Opportunities in the mining sector. We have just, as a government, completed the geodata for the first time in the history of the country. We have completed the airborne geological survey, the mapping of our mineral assets across the country itself. So for the first time, we know the minerals that we have, the strategic mineral endowments that we have in Sierra Leone. The second phase is going to commence soon. So we will now know the value, the quantity of these mineral assets, which we can use as concessions to fund major capital projects in the country. This is about being ambitious. This is about being innovative. This is about being dynamic and inspirational, that we can take Sierra Leone to the next level, and it's our responsibility to do so. I can go on and on and on about the development diplomacy, but let me conclude with the final point about the fundamental principle. This new development diplomacy is about win-win partnership with our development partners and our friends. So the development partnership mantra is partnership for development. We want to focus as a fundamental principle on in-country value addition and beneficiation. For the first time, we want to focus on processing the raw materials that we actually extract, rather than just shipping them outside. We want to process it and add value to it in country. This is new. This is a complete departure from what we have been doing before. For 60 years of independence, we just extract our mineral resources and then ship it out of the country. And I always come back to the story of an incident that I witnessed. And that incident was when I was then chair of the governance transition team. The security agencies did a raid on illegal miners in the forest somewhere in the north. And they brought a hefty gold bar. I've never held such a large gold bar in my hand. I was surprised, and I did ask them, where did you get from? They said, from Chinese illegal miners in the forest. I said, how did they do it? They said, well, they are extracting the gold and smelting it into gold bars. And I told myself, my goodness me, if Chinese illegal gold miners can extract the gold and smelt it, why can we not do the same as a country? Are we not ambitious enough, innovative enough? So for the first time, this new direction government has required of mining companies now to start doing beneficiation. So for the first time, a gold company has just done its first gold billion in country, in Sierra Leone, extracting the gold, smelting it in the country, and that gold billion can now be placed in the vault of the Bank of Sierra Leone, and the Bank of Sierra Leone can purchase it as part of the foreign reserve of the country. This is what this development diplomacy is all about. It's about in-country value addition and beneficiation. Through this process, we create jobs, we create wealth, we reduce poverty, we provide skills and develop skills. But in the process, because when you say in-country beneficiation and value addition, you need to invest in critical infrastructure. There is no way you can smelt gold in Sierra Leone without, on a large scale, without industrial electricity generation. And you know that the electricity generation in the country is minimal. We are talking about 120 megawatts of electricity generation. And we have in country between 15 to 16% of people in the country have access to electricity. I hear that Amsterdam Airport alone generates about 2,000 megawatts of electricity. So how can you talk about in-country value addition when you do not have the infrastructure? But that is exactly the opportunity we are talking about, because it provides new additional opportunities to invest in large-scale capital projects through innovative means. We can invest in the energy sector. The hydro potential of the country is still on tap. We have about 8 to 9 river streams in the country, and I understand the collective potential of harnessing the hydroelectricity capacity of the 9 river streams is about 2,000 megawatts. So that spare capacity then will automatically create opportunities for domestic manufacturing industries, for increase in the access to electricity across the country. It has huge beneficiations across the country. So if that is the case, then I want to end by just saying the win-win approach of the development diplomacy is for every Sierra Leonean. So that is why I want to, by commending the efforts of the North American Diaspora Group. I thought when we are here, it's important that we engage the Diaspora Group to share with them the new shift in the foreign policy approach and what they can do. It's one thing to talk about the concept of the new foreign policy shift, development diplomacy. How do we do it? We've currently started the process of rolling out the structures, the methods, the infrastructure that is needed to roll out, and what you can play as members of the diaspora. Let me give you concrete examples. For the first time, we have now upgraded the diasporal office in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation to a full-fledged diaspora directorate. So what that simply means is that when you do your trade and investment promotion, you have a unit within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that supports all our foreign missions, a directorate that supports all our foreign missions, and the directorates then will support the diaspora community. And when they come in country in terms of trade and investment, the Directorate for Diaspora Affairs will link up the trade and investment opportunities with the National Investment Board that has just been established and is co-chaired by the President and the Vice President. And the National Investment Board is a one-stop shop for trade and investment promotion and facilitation. So for the first time, you don't have to, when you come to the country, you don't have to go to finance. You don't have to go to trade and industry. You don't have to go to the Justice Ministry. You come to one-stop shop environment that can do the technical, the programmatic, the financial, and the legal concurrence needed for all the trade and investment. This is about the ease of doing business, but also promoting and creating a conducive business climate to be able to attract Sierra Leone, investment into Sierra Leone. What we want to do is to attract investors who will come to the country, and I dare say credible investors, to help the country to do good, but also do well, make profit. And you have a responsibility. Part of this structure that we are putting together also involves, for the first time, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation wants to recruit trade and investment attaches and to send them and deploy them to all our 23 missions so that they provide the technical backstops and capacity building at our missions so that the diaspora can link up with them. These are some of the ideas and some of the structures and methods that we put together to translate the idea, the concept, and the vision of development policy, development diplomacy into practical, deliverable programs that benefits all Sierra Leoneans. But I think this is what you can do. The diaspora community is strategic. We cannot achieve this development diplomacy foreign policy objective of taking Sierra Leone to the middle income status just by ourselves. His Excellency the President has been very clear that we need a collective ownership of Sierra Leone's development. So this is really a case that I want to put to you that you have a strategic role to play. Firstly, make sure that when you engage with investors, do your own due diligence. What we want is credible, verifiable, long-term investors in Sierra Leone. We don't want fly-by-night Mickey Mouse investors who will come in for their own agenda. Please do your own due diligence. I have often been faced with a situation whereby in my previous role as chief minister, our brothers and sisters come with investors and then they come to my office 5 minutes into it, I realize it's a waste of my time because they say they have $5 billion. And I ask them a very simple question, show me the money. They cannot even demonstrate that they have even 100,000 in their bank accounts. So we have a responsibility as members of the diaspora. When we mobilize these investors, do your own due diligence before you bring them. Otherwise, it's a waste of everybody's time. Secondly, I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to be more ambitious. I want you to organize a trade and investment thematic seminar or conference here in Washington, D.C., or a city of your choice, where we will bring colleague ministers of trade, of finance, we will all attend to support that process. But we want you to focus on key sector approaches. You can take a thematic sector, the tourism sector, or the public infrastructure sector, or the agricultural sector, and mobilize investors that are interested in those areas. So within a year, you can actually put together 2 or 3 thematic sectoral trade and investment conferences here in the United States. And thirdly, I want to challenge you. I'm sure you know about AGOA, the United States Africa Growth Opportunities Act, for which the government of Sierra Leone have not benefited from tremendously. Other countries have maximized and benefited tremendously from this. I'm pleased to announce that despite the challenges of the previous administration in trying to end the program, that AGOA will be extended, I understand, to 2025, beyond 2025. That is the understanding. We have an opportunity in AGOA because AGOA provides access, preferential access to the US export market. As Sierra Leoneans, this is what you should be doing. In the fishery sector, you can focus on using AGOA to maximize profit and investment in the fishery sector. Take the case of dried fish. It's something that I'm familiar with. There's a huge market for it, but I have not seen Sierra Leoneans who are involved in that using the AGOA framework to maximize their profit. Let us use the AGOA opportunity to develop what I call sector-specific bankable projects. Sector-specific bankable projects. Now that we have a Sierra Leone AGOA national strategy, so you have the enabling environment nationally, but you can organize yourself into thematic groups. When you organize yourself into thematic groups or sector groups, those interested in tourism, those interested in fishery, those interested in the mining sector, those interested in agriculture, believe me, you can transform the narrative of Sierra Leone being a poor country. We are all not poor. We are a rich country, but we just have a poverty mentality. And I want to challenge you. I am an academic. I came to governance, have no idea about agriculture. Today, I am a successful rice farmer. And I put my rice, 50 kg eco rice, on the market for 200,000. If an academic professor can be a successful rice farmer, I don't see why anybody cannot do that. But of course, it's capital intensive at the beginning. But I'm sure this is where you guys can. The Sierra Leonean diaspora in North America puts to you is that please start organizing yourself into a credible workforce that is able to mobilize yourself to support the government in key areas. We are talking of Peace Corps volunteers, but Peace Corps volunteer from the United States started as an idea. The president is promoting human capital development. We want to promote our own human capital development core, which we can use to support other countries in West Africa. And by the way, there's a lot that is happening in Sierra Leone today that other member states are looking to Sierra Leone. Take the case of our COVID-19 response and the COVID-19 vaccination biometric certificates that we have used. ECOWAS is now learning from that experience. We are small, but we are smart, and we do not have a poverty mentality anymore. So today, I want to appeal to you. It is your turn to join the process of rebuilding your own country. I've lived in Europe for a number of years, and my best decision was to go back to Sierra Leone and serve my country and my people. Has it been easy? No way. 3 months being in Sierra Leone, I was angry for most of the time because I was criticized for doing the right thing. And I couldn't understand because you criticize people for doing the wrong thing. But I went through that because we have a collection of good people in the country and people who believe in change and transformation in the country. So I want you to join the development process, irrespective of your political aspiration, your political affiliation. That should not be a problem. It is important that we all put our shoulders to the wheel to help develop and change the narrative in Sierra Leone. It is on that note then, I want to invite the Honorable Member of Constituency 030, Honorable Ben Kago. Honorable Ben Kago is a member of the delegation, as I said, and Honorable Ben Kago is part of the inclusive politics and inclusive development. We want to showcase the best of Sierra Leone. So coming to the United States, it is important to come with the diversity of what we are. Honorable Ben Kago, I understand, is not available to make a comment. So we will progress the discussion. So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, it has been my pleasure to share with you my thoughts on the shift in the foreign policy, but also the progress that we have made as a country. On that note, Your Excellency, I yield the chair back to you. Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Professor David Francis. I can simply say that you have said quite a lot, and we have listened to the new paradigm shift and your new vision of the development diplomacy and what the United States diaspora can do by contributing to this new paradigm shift, as you have brilliantly articulated. And you have also stated, which would be of interest to many, the attachment of trade attaches to several of our missions, that I take personal interest in that, because it is extremely important to have people who have the kind of pedigree, have a vision to be able to help in coordinating and the efforts of our diaspora who are doing some remarkable things in this country, and they want to contribute. So that would really provide an opportunity for them to do that. You have also stated very clearly that you want collective ownership in the Sierra Leone developmental process by challenging us, the diaspora, to bring credible investors to do business and by making them own it in our country. And you even stated that we should think about hosting trade fair in DC in the areas of tourism, agriculture, fisheries, etc. And the most important part of all of that also is the question of the diaspora taking advantage of AGOA, particularly in the area of the dry fish packaging and other areas as well. That sector, those sectors that you have outlined are really sectors that will encourage the bankability of projects which can make people participate in our country. And by ending your saying, you want to promote Peace Corps development mentality to rebuild our country. That is so wonderful. And there are many more things, and I'm sure our colleagues, our brothers and sisters have listened very attentively. I want to now go back. I've seen a lot of hands. I know I had said for some ground rules that the questions have been sent to Mr. Pearl as well as Ms. Horner, Rachel Horner. So I will yield now to, we are going to take 5 questions. If there is enough time because we're really late because of the next available engagement. So I'll go right to Mr. Pearl for the first questions. Let's take 2 questions at a time because we're going to take 5.
His
Mr. Pearl?
Excellency, thank you very much. The first question here, I read, how are Sierra Leonean citizens responding to all the development moves made in Sierra Leone by the New Direction government, Augustine Kebi?
Your Excellency, Honorable, do you want to take the questions in order or you want to take it two questions? So call the next question. Okay, 3 questions. The second one, go ahead.
What is the government doing towards the procurement of COVID-19 vaccine for the people of Sierra Leone? Abdoulaye Jah.
Okay. What's the third question?
I would like to know what the government is doing to recruit and retain quality teachers in schools, which is an essential component for the president's free education. Claude Smith.
Thank you very much. So, Your Excellency, Honorable, you would take the first 3 questions and then we'll move forward. I yield back to you, sir.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for the very specific questions that you've raised. The questions are at the heart of governance. The first question, the people's evaluation of the New Direction government. What we can say in 3 years, we have made progressive strides. We inherited a near bankrupt state. That is a fact. But we should not dwell on the past of our inheritance. It's what we have done that is what is going to be evaluated by the people. So where we are as of today, 2.6 million children are in school, benefiting from the free quality education. 22% of the national budget is being spent on education. What does that mean for the ordinary Sierra Leonean? A family that had 3 children or 5 children, when it comes to the start of a new school year, the family will worry about payment of tuition fees for those kids. Today, they don't have to worry about that at all. So that money they would have used for the payment of tuition fee is now used to further develop the family and response to health and other existential necessities. That is the impact of the New Direction government, lifting the burden from the people. We've been able to do progressive work in the area of social service delivery, on roads infrastructure. Energy is still a challenge because of some of the peculiar problems that we've had. It is not so much about the availability of energy generation. It is the problem of the evacuation, that is the transmission and distribution, that is often the problem. And I'm sure you've heard about the spate of attacks on the EDSA, the electricity infrastructure, deliberately vandalized and by saboteurs. These are some of the challenges, but I don't like explaining some of these things because it's really about what we can do as a country. So what we did as a government, we did a mid-term review to understand what is it that we've done in terms of the progress against the fight against corruption, the bread and butter aspects of life. We have responded to that. At the height of COVID-19, a very difficult year, we were able to pay salaries without resort to bank overdraft facilities. We were able to provide essential services of transportation, of electricity, of so many other things. That in itself is a very progressive effort made by the government. I can go on and on in terms of the government's repeal of the criminal libel, 55-year-old criminal libel law, to the point that Sierra Leone is now highly rated in terms of its freedom of the press and its human rights record. And also, they are addressing the issue of the Special Court on Gender-Based Violence These are all issues that we have been able to respond to. But the judgment is also about the people themselves. The people will have to make that judgment. But I can confidently say that we have responded to 29 of the 38 manifesto commitments that the New Direction government committed to. 29, most of them are at an advanced stage of delivery or already been delivered. So in effect, by 2023, we'll have a clear narrative to present to the people of Sierra Leone that this is the manifesto commitment. We said we will do 38, but we've been able to do, as of 2021, 29 of those manifesto commitments. That is progress. But on the second question, vaccination, we have been able to secure donations from vaccination relating to COVAX facility, but also the Chinese vaccination, to the point that we are able to roll it out. But the challenge that we have is that most of the developed countries have their own COVID-19 vaccination challenge. So we found out that most of the countries are looking to themselves. They are holding vaccines. Take the case of Canada. Canada has a population of less than 40 million, but has been able to secure vaccine of 400 million. Obviously, you will say they don't need more than 200 million, but that's the challenge that we have. The vaccines are not freely available, even when you want to purchase it. That is why we are now looking. We are doing the development diplomacy. We've been able to make requests for vaccines from India, vaccines from Russia. And whilst I was in Russia and I met with my counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, we made a very strong case for vaccine donation. But it's one thing to secure the vaccine. To roll out and administer the vaccines across the country is also capital intensive. And this is where the government is doing its best to fund the rolling out of this vaccine across the country. And I'm sure you're aware of the recent spike in the COVID-19 situation itself. And that is now under control because, again, our response to COVID has been internationally recognized and praised. The CDC, for example, said Sierra Leone is one of 4 countries with relatively low rate of COVID-19 infection. The mortality rate from COVID-19 is only 82 people. I may say only, because that is still very sad for anyone, even a single person that has lost his or her life as a result of the COVID pandemic. It's sad, and we always think about them in our prayers. The final question on the quality teachers. This is a government that has prioritized free quality education. You cannot do free education if you do not put quality into it. And teachers are at the heart of that quality development. This government has invested in the recruitment of an estimated 5,000 teachers, I understand from the recent figures. That is huge investment. But it's not just about the recruitment of the teachers. It's about the training and the continuous training of the teachers so that they are able to provide quality teaching, supervision, and oversight. What is more, we'll also want to use the teachers as the basis to end the bad practice of examination malpractice. When we took over, examination malpractice was a major problem in the country. Today, nobody is talking about it because we have turned the tide on that one. We have the cooperation of teachers, we have the cooperation of proprietors of schools, we have the cooperation of principals, we have the cooperation of parents themselves. So these are some of the issues I thought I highlight in terms of the progress we've made. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Mr. Pearl, we'll take the next 2 questions, and if there's time permitting, we'll move forward. Mr. Kuruma? Pearl Kuruma?
Yes, sir.
Yes, the next set of questions.
Yes, sir. This one is actually a statement, but I think the minister will elucidate on it. I go. The need for confidence building in our investment sectors. Also, let the government demonstrate that a national investment board will be free of undue politics.
What's the next? What's the next? What's the second question?
I applaud you for picking up the mantle of President Bio's vision of transforming Sierra Leone's foreign policy from economic diplomacy to development diplomacy. We are the national interest. We serve as a core value for every development initiative. My question is, how and by what scale can everyday citizens, home and abroad, gauge the Ministry of Foreign Affairs' approach and successes in achieving its main objectives? In the same token, what is your message to young Sierra Leoneans like myself looking for opportunities to start their career in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Relations? This is from George Shadrach Kamanda, third-year law student here in the United States, on leave, and a current student of diplomacy at Oxford University in the United Kingdom.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Minister, we yield back to you for those two questions.
Well, these are quick comments I will make. On the first question, you're right. The National Investment Board was a creation of His Excellency the President, Dr. Julius Maada Bio, to serve one purpose only: to improve on the ease of doing business, to have a coordinated strategic approach so that all issues relating to investment are coordinated from the center, but they are also free from the usual political and neo-patrimonial interferences. We are Sierra Leoneans, let's be honest. When people bring investors in Sierra Leone, they harass them from one office to another. Even the people who bring them make the investors want to run away. And some of these investors anyway are not credible. So the president said, look, let's centralize it. Let's have a systematic approach to this. So it's about leadership, proactive, strategic leadership. And you have the National Investment Board. And the National Investment Board is chaired by the president and the vice president. So you will not have any political interference. It's a purely technocratic operational board that will determine, firstly, the viability and the credibility of the investment. Secondly, whether these investment portfolios are aligned to the National Development Plan and the flagship Human Capital Development Program. So alignment is a major issue. Thirdly, and most importantly, that these investment opportunities do have the funds to see the completion of these projects in the first place. Because some of these projects, they come in and make claims about funding in the first year, in the second year, there is no funding. So it creates reputational damage for the country itself and for the president and for the government. So that's why the investment board is there, one-stop shop to provide the environment for a friendly business environment. Because we should not forget, when investors come to the country, the experience they get is what will convert them into the best ambassadors to promote Sierra Leone as the #1 investors' destination of choice. The second question you raised was really more of a statement. But we are looking to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. We are looking to recruiting the best brains, the best competencies. So if you complete and you want to have a stint in the foreign ministry, we want to develop and upgrade our internship program, whereby we bring students in their final year to come and have 3 to 6 months in the foreign ministry, to have a feel of it as interns. And you know, internship by definition is not salary, but we've been able to create a small pot of resources that we can provide some stipend for the interns. If the interns are good, and we are able to look at their opportunities, especially against the background that we now intend to make the foreign ministry a closed foreign service with the Foreign Service Act, with the Foreign Service Commission, and foreign policy objective, the foreign policy that caters for the staff. Then we have a regulatory conducive environment for those who want to come to the ministry to have a career in the foreign ministry. But our starting point is always competent, disciplined, professional, committed people who want to make their life in the foreign ministry as career diplomats in the service of their country, not in their own personal service. I thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Minister. I have seen a lot of in the chat boxes, a lot of questions, but as I stated in the beginning, I have to take the minister to a 7:30 meeting, and that is why, in fact, we have actually run over the time. So if I can use this opportunity, because it's a question about the free trade, Sierra Leone's position on the free trade, continental free trade. So maybe if you might want to state just that one last question, if you could state, say something on that, and then we will bring this session to a close. But let me just also say this, for all of those other questions that were asked and we didn't have enough time to kind of address them, I would like to indulge on the kind indulgence of my colleagues and my brothers and sisters across the globe to say that we will try to do our best in answering some of those questions, either by letter or so on, because we only have a very limited amount of time, and I wish to apologize for that. So, Mr. Minister, would you take the continental free trade, and then we'll wrap up, sir.
Well, continental free trade provides unique opportunity, and I want to challenge the diaspora community. This is where you can make billions of dollars. Through Sierra Leone will provide access to 1.3 billion people in Africa. That is what the continental free trade provides. It's economies of scale. We have a large market through entry point of Sierra Leone. It will also provide access within the ECOWAS West African sub-region, access to a market comprising 400 million people through Sierra Leone. In addition, within the sub-region itself, the Mano River sub-region, through Sierra Leone, it will provide access to nearly 50 million people. So we are talking about a vast market. This vast market of economies of scale is what will transform Sierra Leoneans into millionaires through appropriate trade and investment. But what we have to guard against is that if we do not encourage our own local industries, if we do not take advantage of the AGOA opportunities, then Sierra Leone will become a dumping ground for cheap commodities from all over the continent and from outside of the continent. So we'll be a net loser rather than a net beneficiary of the free trade area. And I want to challenge Sierra Leone, be ambitious. This is not the time for small dreams. To change and transform Sierra Leone, nobody can do it for us. We have to do it ourselves. And this is a generational struggle. Frantz Fanon, the Algerian French philosopher, said, every generation must discover its mission. You either betray it or you fulfill it. Now is the time to fulfill that mission. That mission is to change and transform Sierra Leone. I believe it, and I know you all believe it. Let's stop the poverty mentality. Let's be professional, let's be disciplined, and let's commit to Sierra Leone. Put Sierra Leone first. I thank you very much. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Honorable Minister. Let me take this opportunity to also state that as Sierra Leone's ambassador to the United States, I have had the most distinct and honorable pleasure to work with some of the best that Sierra Leone has to offer in this country. We as a mission have enjoyed the partnership with our diaspora. They have been resilient, they have been vigilant, they have been helpful, they have been cooperative, and in many instances, they have stood up to support our country. With the latest and the last intervention, when we celebrated Sierra Leone's 60th independence anniversary, the mission, the government of the Republic of Sierra Leone did not spend a single penny. It was the diaspora, the Sierra Leone diaspora in the United States and our friends that paid every single penny of it, and it was a beautiful celebration. So on behalf of the mission and the Embassy of Sierra Leone, I want to thank my colleagues, my friends, family, and the Sierra Leone diaspora in the United States. I can assure you that that challenge will be taken up by many. Many of them are doing very well here. And now that the country is opening up its gates of opportunity to them, I can rest assure you that they're going to take advantage of those opportunities. And we as an embassy will be very, very happy to facilitate those relationships between our government as well as the diaspora here. So on that note, I'd like to now call on Mrs. Fatmata Wuri, who will be giving our vote of thanks. Madam Wuri, please.
Yes, I'm here, Your Excellency, sir. Can you all hear me? Hello, because I was muted earlier. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the Republic of Sierra Leone, His Excellency Ambassador of the Republic of Sierra Leone to the United States of America, Deputy Head of Mission of the Republic of Sierra Leone in the United States of America, all embassy staff, all protocols observed. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is actually a very special day, as you all can attest to that. It is an outstanding and extraordinary day for us Sierra Leoneans in the diaspora community here in the United States, as the embassy has brought the government of Sierra Leone to us, the diaspora living in the United States. Today should go down as an important milestone in the history of our embassy and Sierra Leone diaspora community. This unique relationship. This is an acknowledgement and recognition of the maiden visit of a true son of Sierra Leone, a genuine statesman, an internationally recognized erudite scholar, a strategic thinker, a most revered individual who has contributed tremendously to the success of the New Direction government, our dynamic and esteemed Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, no other person but Professor David J. Francis, to the United States of America. Indeed, we are happy and honored to have you today. And it is a blessing for us to have this virtual town hall meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I want you all to join me, first of all, to thank our noble ambassador, His Excellency Ambassador Abubakar Siddiq Wai. We call him the People's Ambassador. Along with his Deputy Chief of Mission, His Excellency Sheikh Masale, and the entire staff of the Embassy of Sierra Leone for their relentless efforts in organizing this virtual town hall meeting today by bringing the government of Sierra Leone to us, the diaspora. We thank you, Ambassador Wai and the rest of the embassy staff, for making this happen. Many thanks to our hardworking diaspora affairs coordinator, Madam Rachel Honor. We couldn't have asked for a better diaspora coordinator who is always keeping us abreast with updates coming from Sierra Leone and making sure that we receive our daily reminders in today's very successful town hall meeting. We can all attest that the success of this event is a clear manifestation of yet another accomplishment amongst others of the New Direction agenda, of our talk and do president of the Republic of Sierra Leone, His Excellency retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, and his great men and women within his administration. Ambassador Wai, You have to be credited to have played a significant role in bringing all political parties, be APC, SLPP, C4C, NGC, in creating within the Embassy of Sierra Leone a committee that comprises of all representatives of all political parties. Thank you for doing that. And that's the reason why today's town hall meeting is not only about one political party, but it is about us Sierra Leoneans. Our dynamic ambassador and the entire embassy staff, you all deserve a thunderous round of applause for organizing this event and giving us, the diaspora community, to be able to engage with our minister, our professor, within this fruitful discussion. He has given us the opportunity to address and discuss issues that are vital importance, mutual importance to us, the diaspora. He has given us hope, based on the discussions that he was able to tell us, the diaspora. I was able to gather something from him. He said, we are not poor as a nation. We are a rich country, but we have a poverty mentality. And that is what requires a change. Thank you for highlighting the areas of opportunity for us, the diaspora. Honorable Professor David Francis, you've brought a new dimension to the role of being what? The foreign minister within our country. Your willingness, you were the one that requested to meet with us, the diaspora. That is unique. And that is a clear manifestation of the objectivity of the new direction governance in developing new strategies to upgrade and add some value to the transparency and the positive image of our beloved country, Sierra Leone. Thank you so much. You brought in a new dynamism. You brought in improvement approaches that is left to us now, the diaspora, to engage within ourselves in the areas of trade and investment that you mentioned, seminars, committees that needs to be formed. And yes, we're gonna grab that opportunity. Thank you for the message. The message was, what can we do to market our country, Sierra Leone? Thank you for making it clear that it is left to us, the diaspora, to participate. And I love it, Professor, when you said, let us make this happen and make Sierra Leone into a swagger. So I took that down. This goes a long way with the new direction government. I also want to thank all the other speakers who have contributed to the success of this Diaspora Town Hall meeting. Of course, I've thanked the People's Ambassador. I want to thank the press attaché at the embassy, Mr. Pearl Koma. That was excellent, the question and answer session. And I know, yes, we have others that wanted to ask more questions, but just like the ambassador rightly said, those are questions that can be answered, and the embassy is gonna collect them. A very big thank to my lady, the head of Chancery, Madam Reiki McCarthy, for the wonderful job you've always done and you continue to do, and thank you again as being part of the organizers for this virtual diaspora meeting today. And thank you to the entire embassy staff. Thank you to all political parties present, be it APC, the leaders and the membership of the APC, the chairman and leader of the NGC. Thank you, the chairman and leader of C4C, the chairman and leader of PMDC, and of course, last but not the least, my own regional chairman, Mr. Desmond Pesima. Thank you so much, chairman of the Sierra Leone People's Party, North America region, along with your executive and all chapter heads and the general membership for your great participation in making sure that today's virtual town hall meeting with our professor is of a great success. In closing, I want to thank all our religious leaders for invoking the presence of God Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our midst. And we know that with God, everything is possible. So I want to thank you, our imams, our Christian clergies, as we invoke the presence of God. May God continue to bless us all. May God continue to bless our organizers that organized this gracious occasion. Thank you, Allah, for this successful meeting. God bless our president. God bless our first lady. God bless our Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. God bless Ambassador to the Embassy of Sierra Leone. God bless us all Sierra Leoneans in the diaspora. God bless the United States. God bless Sierra Leone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless us all. Fatma Tawuri, Chairman, SLPPNA, Washington, D.C. Metro Chapter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Furi, for those very, very thoughtful, from the heart vote of thanks for the participants here. And it just reminded me of what, if you look at if you remember, we all remember what the minister was saying. It just reminded me of this great quote from the late President John Kennedy that's saying, ask not for what your country can do for you, but ask for what you can do for your country. So that is a challenge for all of us. Let us focus on what we can do as individuals to the benefit of our country. So on that note, I would go now to Alhaji Samsudeen, a prominent elder statesman for our country, who has served many of us who are now in these positions. He was once the person that mentored many of us. So Alhaji Imam Samsudeen Cole, I yield back to you, sir. You are on mute. Okay, unmute yourself, sir. Oh, good.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. His Excellency, the Honorable Ministers, all standing protocol observed, my dear brothers and sisters. First of all, let's give praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for making this day possible for us. As he told us in his holy book, the Al-Quran, that if one door is closed for all believers, he will be able to open you another door. When Corona came by, it would have been impossible for us to be in Washington today for this meeting. It would just have been a privilege for the people in the DMV area. But today, because of Corona, Zoom came about, and we that are from New Jersey, from New York, from California, and all over, we have the privilege to join the minister in this conversation. We give praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. We're asking Allah to bless our minister, to thank him very much, and to give him the wisdom to achieve whatever he's about to achieve during his visit. Ya Allah, we're asking you to put some wisdom in our country, to the leaders and the politicians, so that they can give us in the diaspora the dual citizenship that we so deserve. Ya Allah, we ask you to put sense and wisdom in our politicians, so they'll give us the privilege, so we'll be able to vote from the diaspora because we are part of Sierra Leone. Ya Allah, we thank you very much for our interest in our country. We ask you to protect our people, protect our government, and protect every one of us in the diaspora, so that one day we'll all return back home and give praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his goodness. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكن من الخاسرين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Thank you very much. I yield back, sir.
Thank you very much, Alhaji. May Allah bless you for that. And now we'll call on my colleague, Evangelist, Deputy Ambassador for Political Affairs, Permanent Mission of Sierra Leone to the United Nations, Honorable Victoria, Ambassador Victoria Suleimani. Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for asking me to do these closing prayers. I'm really extremely delighted to have seen my own boss, my foreign minister, articulate all the actions that we, as an administrator,